around till the end because I've got some great tips to help you get to your solo sooner. It's my first solo! I just did my first landing!
Today's November 4th. Rebecca Williams did her first solo today, so someone's getting a little wet.
Woo! For those who don't know, instructors traditionally will pour water on their students to purify and to symbolize the transition and to wash away student mistakes. I quite literally cannot contain my excitement. I just flew my first solo today and I'm so super excited. I honestly didn't think that I was gonna get to solo today. I flew super early at Aviation where I'm taking my flying lessons. Shout out to Miss Donnell, super awesome school. So this morning when I was flying with Dominic, my instructor, he was doing all kinds of like different things like engine out. Which runway do you do? You're in pattern for number 7. Make it to a runway and 11's closer. So there you go. And he was like, are you sure? Are you sure you're sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. And just really critiquing my landings, and I was like, I thought that was like a pretty good one. And he was like, I was trying to throw you off, and I was like, oh, okay. But the landings were still great, and he was like, okay, now taxi off, and I was like, are you that mad? Like, seriously? So I full stop, I taxi off, and he's like, okay, hand me your logbook, and I was like, wait, what? And he like, and signs my endorsement, and I was like, oh my gosh, thinking to myself, like, what? Can't believe this is happening. Like, what? And then he's like, yeah, you feel you're ready, right? And I was like, yeah, well, I feel I'm ready. Like, same thing I've been doing for the past like 3 months. I got this. Went up, did a quick little video, and I wish I had put the camera mount onto the windshield, but I haven't tried that out yet. So I was like, oh, I'm not gonna try that for my first flight. And I was like, did you get a new video of it, Dom? And he's like, no, I was looking for a bucket of water to pour water on you. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And he's like, I did watch your first landing and it was really nice. And I was like, cool. And I was like, too bad my second landing was even better. And he was like, I'm sure it was. It was a little cloudy. So while I was flying with Dom, we had flown into a little bit of clouds. And he's like, make sure you fly around that. And then on my second go around, or not go around, it was a full stop and I texted him back, but on my second coming back to my downwind, there was a little bit of clouds and I had to like try to go around because it just all of a sudden came on me. So I went around and accidentally messed up the order of, I said downwind left runway 7. I said it wrong because I was a little discombobulated, but I gotten it back together and I was safe, proficient, and I just had such a great time. So I'm so super excited and I can't wait to show you more aviation content to come. I'm starting to sell aviation and automotive oil. So Ascent has ordered some oil from us and I'm just so excited. Also, check out the tail of my shirt that I drew. I can't help myself. I have a bachelor's degree in art. So the glam gal is Miss Donnell, the manager of ASET. Then next to her is Matthew. He works the front desk. And then Dominic is there in the middle with his hands on his hips saying, like, don't mess this up. And then there I am. And then I put the tail number of the airplane that I soloed. And then above that is the Relodyne truck because they placed their order with us last week. So that's exciting. Also, the tradition for the instructor cutting the student's shirt on their first solo is to mark the transition as well. And also, back in the day before they had the radio comm, the instructor would tug on the shirttails of the student. And once they signed them off to solo, they no longer needed the shirttails. And so that's why they cut it. I find that super fun. Part of my tips for soloing sooner is going to be practice, practice, practice. And if you can't necessarily practice in like Microsoft Flight Sim, practice visualizing it. A lot of really top athletes will visualize their practices and it really, really helps them. Also, there's been studies done by like different universities that when athletes visualize their workout, they gain as much muscle, if not more, than the group that actually just worked out. So crazy what the mind does, where the mind goes, the body follows. It's really cool. Visualize. Second off is check the METARs. And I know METARs can be a little hard to read, but there's a website that I'll link below, and it's called METAR-TAF, and it shows it visually, and it's awesome. So anytime you're like a little bit confused about what the METAR is saying, it visually shows it to you, and that was a really big help for me. And then my third great tip is fly early in the morning. If you are flying early in the morning, the winds are typically going to be pretty calm. Of course, look at the METAR and mostly look at the TAF, like the night before that you go, to make sure that the weather is going to be good. I also Googled like what would be soloable conditions for a student pilot, and Google said less than 10 knots and less than a 7-knot crosswind. So I was like, okay, cool. And pretty much every single morning that was the case, and I was like, awesome, got this. Also, my instructor did not want to wake up early, so just a little side note on that one. But yeah, so mornings is usually typically going to be a great bet. So I hope those tips helped. If you have any other tips, let me know down in the comments, and I'm excited to keep sharing more.